Hello guys, welcome back to another exciting episode for Agentforce for everyone. In this episode, we are going to learn how to invoke an AI agent from a record triggered flow. For that, I have created a use case. So I have a case object. Whenever a case is created into the system, we are going to route that case to the particular department. So for that, I have created 5 different departments such as technical support, billing and accounts, customer success, sales operations, logistics, and dispatch. These departments I have stored into a type field, which is a picklist field, which has 5 different values. Now, what we are going to do today is we are asking our agent, passing the case number, and ask, can you please transfer this case to the correct department based on the value available in the type field. So to achieve that, we have a couple of steps which we are going to perform. First, we are going to create 5 different queues. Then we are going to write an Apex class which we have a logic to route the case to the correct team. Then we are going to create an agent action for that Apex class. Then we are going to create a brand new Agentforce Service Agent. We are giving the instructions and adding the action so that the agent can perform the transfer process. Then in the last, we are going to create a record triggered flow on the case. So whenever a case is created, the flow will execute and that flow will invoke our agent. So let's start one by one. Also, I am going to write everything from the scratch so you guys can also follow this video. So the purpose for this course is to give you the practical knowledge, not just the theoretical knowledge. So let's start creating the queues. So to create a queue, I am going to set up and I will search for the queues. So I am going to create 5 different queues for each department. So first is technical support. Before I create a queue, let me show you the field on the case object, which is type. So in the type, we have different departments. So now if a case is created, let's say for billing an account, the responsibility for agent is to pick the value from the type and assign the case to the billing and account department. So I'm going to copy this value and I will go to queue. New, and I will select the object case and I will add myself to the queue. So I will be the member of this queue. So I'm going to repeat these steps 4 more times. Technical support, case, and adding myself to the queue. Save. Then we have customer success, logistics and dispatch, and the last one, sales operations. And that's done. So we have 5 different departments available in the queue. So that means our step number 1 is done. Now we are going to write a Apex class which has the logic to transfer the case to the correct team. So let's start writing this code from the scratch. For that, I am going to open my dev console and I will create a new class. Let's say escalate cases controller, and I will say with sharing. Now in this class, we are going to have an invocable method. Why invocable method? Because when we are going to call this Apex class from our agent, so the method need to be invocable. And we are also going to pass a couple of parameters. For this instance, we are just passing the case number. So case number will be helpful to find out the case, the type of the case, and then from that type, we are going to find the correct queue, and then we are assign the case to the correct department. So for that, I am going to create 2 wrapper classes, one for getting the parameter from the agent. Another one is returning the data to the agent. So the first one will be public class, let's say wrapper request. In this, I will have a invocable variable and I will mark this variable as require, and description, pass the case number given by the user. and this will be public string case number. So let me explain you the description I have added. So this says pass the case number given by the user. Now, if you have seen my previous episodes, we have created a couple of flows, couple of Apex classes and use those into our agent. So whenever an agent, basically user is trying to communicate with the agent. So whenever a user is trying to prompt something, is trying to ask something, so that's the instruction that pass the something given by the user. So whatever the user type, we need to get the data from the user, and then the agent will pass whatever the data has been entered to the agent action, and from agent action the data has been transferred to the either flow or Apex. So this is my request wrapper, which has one case number string variable which will store the value of the case number. I will also create another class for wrapper response. Here I'm just copy this. So here we are just going to put a description. So this will be public string, just a message. So in the description I'm going to write show the message to the UI. So if the user is trying to talk to the agent and say, can you please transfer the case to the correct team? So once the Apex is perfectly doing the transfer, so then we are going to set a message. We are going to set a message that the case number has been transferred to the XYZ department. So we have our request wrapper, we have our response wrapper. Now we are going to write our main class, so which is going to be public. This will be static, and we are going to return this response. So the return type will be list of response, because invocable method always accepts the parameter in the form of list. So either you are passing the data, you need to have a list of input parameter. If you are sending the data, you need to have a list of a return parameter. So let's say transfer cases, and then this will be the request list of request. Now once we have the request available, we are going to, because we are receiving a case number, so first we need to find the case, because we need the case ID in order to update, and we also need the type of the case in order to find the correct queue. So I'm going to write a SOQL on the case object. Select ID type case number from case where case number equals to. So this case number is coming into the request parameter, and I will just copy this, and I only need a single record. So that's it. Now once we have the case available, and I'm not going to beautify this code, optimize this code, because the purpose is to show how we can invoke the agent from the record triggered flow. So maybe you guys can beautify the code, put if conditions, whether the cases exist or not. I'm not going to do anything. So now once assume we have the case record available, now I'm going to find the queue, and the queue we have are this. So I need to find a queue where these are the types. So let's write another SOQL on the group, because we can always find queues on group objects. So let's say queue select ID type. We just need the ID from group where type equals to queue and name equals to. So now the name is this. So let's say billing and account. So in my case, this billing and account is stored in the type picklist field. So I will say object case dot type and limit 1. So let me show you to run this query manually. So now if I am going to replace this name from here, this billings and accounts, so I have the record. So basically if a case contains billing and account, so we are going to get that type case type, and we are going to find the particular queue for billing and account department. Then we are going to use the record ID of this queue, and we are going to update the case with that record ID. So let's see. So now I assume I have the group exist for the correct department. Now I'm going to update the owner ID of the case, because owner ID is something where we are assigning the correct queue to the case. So this dot ID, and once we have assigned the owner ID, I'm going to update the case. That is all done. Now I need to also send a message to the agent that this has been done. Again, you can optimize this code putting database dot update, or you can do the try catch, so which is not required for today's episode. And now I'm going to return a message. So for that I'm going to define a constructor for this wrapper return response new list of this, and I also need to create a constructor for a single response dot message. So let's say case. So this case is successfully transferred to the, and the team name. So the team name we are going to get from dot type to the team. So the final message will be case, and then the case number is successfully transferred to the billing and account team. So this message I'm going to add to the main list, and I'm going to return the whole list. Done. So let me try to save the code. So the code is successfully saved. Let me zoom in. So let me recall what we have just written. So we have a class escalate case controller, which is with sharing, and then we have two wrapper. One is the request, which we are getting the case number from the agent, and one is we have message, which we are sending the message to the agent. And then we have a, so we need to declare this class as an invocable method. So if we are defining variables, we need to use invocable variable. If we are defining methods, so we need to use invocable method. Then we need to put some label. Let's say escalate cases, then description, escalate the cases to the correct team. Any descriptions we can provide. Yeah. So then we have two wrapper, then we have one method. So this is going to receive the case number. From that case number, we are going to find that case, and then the type of the case. Based on the type, we are going to find the correct queue, correct department, I can say. And then once we find the correct department, we are going to route that case to that department and update the owner ID. Once that is done, I'm going to send a success message that this case is successfully transferred to the correct department. Now, it may be possible that we got some error and the DML couldn't perform. So then you guys can handle, if the DML is not performed successfully, you can send another message that something went wrong. Please try to contact system admin, or whatever the message you are going to receive, you can send the same message to the agent. I'm not going to do that today. Now, the Apex class part is done, I believe. So now I'm going to create a agent action and use that Apex class into that action. So let's see. For that, I'm going to type agent and go to Agentforce assets, and then I'll go to actions, new agent action. I will use Apex. I will use invocable method because we just defined invocable method, and then I will go and try to find my class. So my class is, if you can see the label, escalate cases, and here you go, escalate cases, and click next. Now, whatever the description we have provided here, we can see here in the agent instruction, which is fine. I'm not going to change it because it seems meaningful. So this agent is going to escalate the cases to the correct team. I will remove this. I don't want to show any text because this agent is going to perform in the backend as an autonomous. We are not going to use this agent in the upfront. That's why. And this is the input parameter, which is going to pass the case number given by the user, require input, which is correct. And then whatever the message we receive, we are going to show the message to the UI. That's the instruction. That's all the instructions which we have given at the time of defining the variables. And then I'm going to show this message to the UI. So I need to select show in conversation and then click finish. That is also done. So you can see the escalate cases the action has been created, which is a custom Apex action. So that means our agent action is also done. Now it's time to create a brand new Agentforce Service Agent. For that, I am going to select Agentforce Agents, and I have a couple of existing agents, but I will create a brand new. So I'll choose new agent, create from a template, and then Agentforce Service Agent. Next, I will remove everything. I don't need anything because I'm going to just escalate cases from my Apex. And next, I will name it as Agentforce Router Agent because this is going to route the cases. Cool. Description, role, company. So I will just copy something into the company I have already written. So this agent belongs to some company that transfer the cases to the correct team, or you can say anything. What does this agent do? Belongs to what company? Agent user. I am not going to create a new agent user because I have already some existing agents which has an agent user, so I'm going to use that agent user. But if you are going to create a new agent for the very first time, it's a best practice to create a separate agent user, which I already have. So I'm going to use that existing Einstein agent user, and then click next and create. So our agent is created with inactive stage. Now we need to add a topic. So let's say, what do you want this topic to do? So transfer the cases to the correct team. We can give any prompt, just like we are giving prompt to the ChatGPT. So it will help us to list down all the instructions and everything you will see. So based on the one-liner, you will see all the instructions which Salesforce has provided, the GPT has provided. So the name is case transfer. It handles the transfer of the case to the appropriate team. Your job is only to transfer the cases, etc, etc. And I am not going to use any of the instructions because I have already defined my precise instructions. So first instruction, I am going to use case number is required. So if a user asks to transfer the case to the relevant team, user must have provide the case number. If not, then show this message to the user, please provide case number, because it does make sense. Without having a case number, we won't be able to find the case and assign the case to the correct team. And then another instruction I'm going to write. Once user has provided the case number, then execute transfer cases. Now this transfer cases is my action, agent action. Maybe I'll just double check if I have given some other names. Actions, I think I have given escalation, if I am not, yes. So we have given not transfer, escalation. So I'm going to change this to escalation. So once user has provided the case number, then please execute escalation cases action to transfer the case to the correct team. And I think these two are enough. One is asking the case number. The another one is calling the action. That action is going to call our Apex, which is going to transfer the case and then show the message to the UI. Next. Now in the action, I am going to use my custom action which we have just created in the previous step, and then finish. That is done, case transfer. We can ignore this and then we can refresh. So we created our Agentforce Service Agent. Now it's time to create a record triggered flow, and then we can invoke this agent from the record triggered flow. But before that, let's test whether our agent is working fine or not. So now for that, I am going to my case object and I will create a new case. Let's say status new, case origin web. So this is the type field which we are going to use mainly. So we have a couple of departments. Let's say billing, technical support, customer success, and we have queues for all the departments. So let's say if I choose billing and account, and let's say save, and if I copy this case number. So right now, if you see, the case is assigned to me. Now what I want is the agent should assign this case based on the type. So the agent should assign this case actually to the billing and account team. So let's see. This is my agent. Let's refresh and ask, could you please transfer this case to this? Okay, let's first test giving this prompt without giving a case number. Great, it asks please provide the case number. So this is the case number. Okay, now it says, how can I assist you with your case today? So we have this topic, we have two instructions which we have given, and we have given one action as well, but it did not pick that action, and then it goes to the off topic. Okay, got it, because we have created a brand new Apex class and this user doesn't have access to that Apex class. So we need to provide the Apex class access to that user. So I'm going to find that user, and we can provide the Apex class through permission set. So I have already created a custom agent permission set. I am going to Apex class access and then click edit. What is the name of our class? It's escalate cases controller. Yep, and we are going to give that class access and save. So hopefully it should work now. Let's refresh. Let me copy the case number. Let's refresh. Could you please transfer the case to the correct team? Yeah, so we got the message, the case number has been successfully transferred to the billing and account team. Is there anything else I can help? Okay, so let's see the prompt. This is the message we have given. It selected the topic, it executed the action, passed the case number successfully to the agent action to the Apex, and then this is the message which we have said once the case has been successfully transferred, and then the reasoning engine has modified the message and then gives us the nice response. Now let's go back and refresh this case to actually see it is transferred or not. So yes, now it has been transferred to case owner, billing and accounts. Now that means the agent is working. Now let's activate this agent. Done. Now I'm not going to use that agent anymore because we need that this agent needs to be used from the record triggered flow. So we actually don't need to come here and type and say, okay, can you please transfer this case? No, I want this needs to be automated and work behind the scene. So let's do that. So now we need to create a record triggered flow. I'm going to close this permission set. Our agent is active. That's fine. I'm going to close dev console, not needed. Data export, not needed. Yeah. So let's see if we have a flow already. No. So let's create a new flow. So we are going to create a record triggered flow, and create on case object. And I will choose created or updated, or maybe let's say updated, because we assume whenever a case is created at the time, the type value should be null because the type is an optional field, and then somebody from the team decides, okay, this case belongs to that team, this case belongs to that team. So we will decide later on. That's fine. And I'll choose all condition because I don't want to execute this flow every time. I just want that this flow should only execute whenever a reason has been added or changed. So let's say each is changed, true. That's it. And I am going to, so now, so the main part comes for the video. So this is how we can see how we can invoke the agent. So to invoke an agent, we need to select agent, and then we need to search for AI agent, or if you can see it here, AI agent actions, which you can see 3 items. That means I have 3 Agentforce service agents available at the moment, and these are the activated ones. So ours is Agentforce router agent. So I'm going to select that and choose Agentforce. Maybe I'll just choose the same name. And description, this agent is going to transfer the case to the correct team. Message, now we need to give this message just the same way we have given the message to the agent. Could you please transfer the case? So let's say, yeah, could you please transfer this case to the correct team. Now which case? We need to provide a case number, right? So I will choose a merge field, which is triggering case and case number. Okay, let me cut this. So could you please transfer this case and then the case number to the correct team? So then the agent will receive, could you please transfer this case 0000000 to the correct team? So the agent will then transfer the case, and then nobody will receive the success message because we are using it in a record triggered flow, but we will actually see the output. Now let me save this. So this is record triggered flow case transfer and save. Okay, so we got the error. A record triggered flow cannot execute actions that make external callouts in a path that runs immediately. Remove this element from the flow or move it to a scheduled path. Yes, so this is, I need to show you guys intentionally that we cannot use our AI agent to the flow in synchronous mode. So we always need to use the AI agent to the asynchronous, because this agent can make call out to get the response from the GPT model something. So that's why we cannot use it here. So for that, I am going to edit the condition, and I am going to use this include a run asynchronously path, and we are going to run this agent asynchronously. So I'm going to cut this element and put it here. So now if I try to save, see, so the error has gone, and I'm going to activate now. So our last step is also done. We created our record triggered flow on case object, and we successfully invoked the AI agent. Now it's time for the demo. Cool. Our flow is activated, our agent is activated. Now it's time to create some cases. So let's say I create a new case, a good case, status new, let's say coming from email, type. I don't choose the type now because our flow is on the update. So maybe I'll choose facing an issue in my laptop, just any subject, and save. So this time not going to happen anything because we don't have any automation on the creation. If you want, you can put it on create as well. Now I am going to update the type. So because I said we have a couple of cases, and based on the subject or description, the case is going to differentiate into different teams. So this is something laptop issue. So I'm going to assign this case to the technical support. So now as soon as I save, it will execute the record triggered flow. The record triggered flow will execute the agent in asynchronous mode. So whenever the resource becomes available, the agent gets executed, and then agent is responsible to route this case to the technical support team. So it should change from Ankit Gangwani to technical support. Let's see. So if I hit save, and if I, because this is asynchronous, so this may take a couple of seconds, and if I refresh now, Okay, it is not working. I'm still trying to. I think I did a mistake. Yes. So I added the case reason, but I actually need to add the case type because we are going to change the case type. So I apologize. This is completely my mistake. So I will choose case type and is changed and true. Save and activate. Cool. So let me try again. If I go and make it blank, and now if I go and choose technical support, so now if I go and refresh one more time, so you can see the case owner is now successfully changed to technical support. That means the case has been now routed to the technical support team, and then they are responsible to resolve this case. Let's try one more scenario. So again, a new case. This time we are going to, let's say, logistic, but on the update. So let's say this, deliver this product something, save. Now because this is deliver this product case, so that means it comes to logistic department. So let's say I choose logistic and dispatch and save. 1 2 3 refresh. Okay, it takes a couple of seconds. So now yeah, it's successfully transferred to the logistic and dispatch department. So let me I don't need to show you the agent because we have already seen the agent. Just to recall the class which we have written. Yeah, so we are passing the case number. From the case number we are finding the case, and then the type, because we have the type logistic. So it is going to find the queue which has name logistic and dispatch. Once the queue has been found successfully, then we are going to update the case. We are going to route the case to the logistic department. So I think that's all in this video. If you have any question, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, and we are going to see some more practical scenario on Agentforce. So I'm going to upload episodes on daily basis. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching and take care.